Are we live?
We're live. And we're live. Welcome, everybody, to our next segment of the workshop. Today, we'll be covering topics that are related to copyright on NFT world and metaverse concepts. If you have any questions, feel free to drop it in the live chat, comment box, or send them in our workshop channel in our JPEG Discord server. Remember, asking a question grants you entries to our giveaways. Today's giveaways prize includes a JPEG DAO 01 NFT created by SirCheezly and a JPEG Silver 002 NFT created by Seymour. Also, don't miss SirCheezly's talking about metaverse concepts on the 5th of March, which is next Saturday. Our guest today and mentor is none other than Lumenator. Lumenator, how are you today?
I'm great. I've been looking forward to this for a long time. We've got a lot of good questions, a lot of good things to go over, so I think it's going to be a great show.
Perfect. So let's dive right into it.
All right, great. What do you want to talk about first? You want to talk about maybe the core roles and some of the new changes that have been happening in the DAO?
Sure, we can discuss that.
Sure, I think we should start off with that before we get into some of the questions. So we recently launched a new governance model, very excited about it. And we have 5 core roles that have been filled by some pretty quality folks. 2 of them are in front of you right now. So it's going to be really cool to see how this progresses. Basically, how it works is, I'm going to be filling a collector role, trying to get art, trying to establish relationships with artists on chain, off chain. We have Emma, who I see is in the comments. Lux Life there. It's great to see you. I hope you're feeling a little bit better, by the way. She's going to be really dealing with more of the marketing aspect. Her role is going to be the brand creator. And if you've seen any of the graphics that we have going on, she's responsible for that. She's a superstar in that respect. B-Gold, who started off the whole JPEG DAO, really one of the first guys, if not the first guy behind it. It's going to be the utility driver. That's one of the areas I'm most excited about. See how we're going to bring utility to NFTs through a variety of different options. We have a great architect who's going to be more on the dev side. His name's Slackerboy, and I've had a chance to preview some of the things he's working on, and it's going to be very impressive. And we've got the program lead, Mr. Fig himself there. And can you talk a little bit about what you've got planned for that?
Yeah, so pretty much what my role is as far as the core role goes, is to drive the completion of the projects, document solutions, delegate tasks, and pretty much, use some of my background knowledge to help project manage to ensure that everybody has the right tools and support needed for their roles to be successful in the JPEG DAO. So more like a support role, carefully balance their projects and their processes, and pretty much try to engage with the community to bring on more talent to help us out to build out the JPEG.
Very exciting changes. A lot of changes have happened in the DAO. All of them, I think, in a positive direction. You'll see with a lot of new projects, that's very natural. You start out, you confront different challenges, you adapt. I think we've done a pretty good job with that. I really love how we're handling these new membership levels and providing more options to the members. And a lot of people, if you're a member, you need to claim your new tokens. It's very important. How it works now is we have mountain tokens, really cool. It's the actual asset name is basically the icon for a mountain. So please claim those and use those on the JPEG store to actually select the NFTs that you want. Rather than us just telling you what you're going to get, we're giving you options. So each month you'll have new options. And as we progress, there might be even more utility for those, whether it's in the metaverse, whether it's, there's limitless options. And being a DAO, you can help us decide those as a member. So it's pretty exciting to see these changes, and I'm looking forward to it. I know today we're going to be talking about marketing, how to market NFTs, strategies that might work on Lightment. It's a pretty complex topic, and we've got a lot of great questions we're going to get to, but I just want to kind of give a little overview of what I see from a marketing perspective. And you'll see a lot of other chains are almost like market first, art later. I like more of a art focused approach. So when you're really thinking about marketing, you got to think about what you are offering first, and what's unique to what you're trying to do. So if you're an aspiring NFT artist or you're already an existing NFT artist, I think really the best approach is to think about what you offer and to think about how you can offer something unique and then market from that. There's a lot of great examples of people who've been very successful marketing their NFTs. And one of the, Fig and I have both had the opportunity to work with Nawbears. And I really feel like his organic approach was very successful. He started with the art. He built a community. There's and there's a lot of things you can learn from what he did. But do you have any comments on that so far, Fig?
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of there, a week or so after you had joined in, and he had his doors open and pretty much gave us the opportunity to kind of be a part of something new and interesting, and how that developed over time was very exciting to see. How the community was engaged and how he was engaged with the community, as far as the feedback and how he took his lore and kind of created something that was kind of fun and unique, that was also community driven at the same time.
Yeah, there's no doubt. He did a lot of things correct. One of the things that he did was he got his art into a lot of wallets early, and that was free through some of the Discord airdrops that he offered. So it's an interesting thought to think about actually giving art to your supporters. And I think there's value in that. And this is definitely not the only way, but when you have your art in many wallets, then you have a natural fan base that's relatively low cost to start up, who's interested in your product, who's interested in your project, your art, and is going to actually be like an army of promoters themselves. So that was I think a really smart strategy that he did. So some other things to think about too is you mentioned lore, you mentioned story. There's a lot to be said for the description box. A lot of artists do not utilize the description box properly. On Lightment, you have the option to have an extended optional description where you can create a story. One person who's doing that very successfully right now is Ascendant Rises with the Savage Joe collection. We at the DAO are working on some really cool lore stuff as well that you'll see shortly. It's been a long process getting that taken care of, but I think we've done a pretty solid job on that. And if you have a story, it helps connect people to the art, and adds utility. You know, a lot of times when you're looking at NFTs, utility is a huge thing. And utility can be simple as fun. And a story adds to that fun and gets you invested in the characters. So if you haven't taken a look at some of those Savage Joe pieces, when you do look at it, make sure there's a little button you can click that says show more under the description. It's always good to look at that. There's all kinds of information that's in there sometimes, whether it's links, stories, etc. So if you're an artist and you're minting on Lightmint, the first thing you want to do is you want to have a great product. And there's no reason not to utilize that box. You don't have to do it all the time. It's not always necessary, but I think it's a great idea. Now you can put your social links in there as well, Twitter, Instagram, websites, etc. You know, and Twitter's another, honestly, Twitter really seems to be receptive to NFT projects. So I would recommend trying to make friends on Twitter, you know, friends with the other artists, because they tend to support you a lot as well. So do we want to look at some of the questions and start knocking them out?
Yeah, let's start doing that. And something I just want to touch base on too is like what he also had done is kind of like dissolve the boundaries. And with that, it was kind of like an open arms situation where, you know, anybody who came in was all automatically feeling like they were a part of something that was cohesive. And, you know, it was a very interesting strategy how he even developed it over time with even some of the special perks that people got for being a bear holder. You know, it was kind of like, you know, developing these pillars of, you know, for his success over time.
Absolutely. You know, and you know, one of the greatest perks was the sewers. You know, he had a private Telegram channel just for supporters. I mean, that's a great way to add value, because you know some of the conversations that happen in there really help to build a community, and that's really what marketing is about. You know, a lot of people, you might, if you're on Twitter and you may send something out about NFTs, I guarantee you're going to have people saying promote it on NFT whatever. I would be wary of a lot of that, you know, and I hope I don't step on anyone's toes that might be involved with those projects. But organic growth is always the best, you know.
If you
And go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say, if you recall, that was something that was when he was first learning, he was approached with that proposal and he tried it out and he actually turned it down because he's like, this is not what I wanted. I want organic growth. I don't want, you know, a bot sending my message out across the social medias to kind of, you know, create like a distraction because, you know, you start to lose control and you can't engage your community the way you think you can at that point because it's so spread out, different, you know, messages and posts everywhere, and it kind of gets messy at that point.
It's true. It's true. And you know, so some of these questions, there's some questions we had from past weeks that we didn't get a chance to answer. One of them I think is very appropriate to what we're talking about today, and it's what makes an NFT valuable, and how do I give my NFT more utility? And you know, there's so many ways to do that. This is such a new platform that really you're only, you know, something you'll hear me say all the time is you're only limited by your imagination. And you know, I've seen utility come in so many different ways. There's a lot of new projects on the network. You know, Drift Exchange, they have all types of utility built into their project, whether it's, you know, yield-bearing NFTs or, you know, fun puzzles, adventures. You know, those are the kinds of things you can think about. You know, I'm playing around with a series that I'll be dropping soon that's going to be puzzle related and reward related. I've got another one where it's like a hunt, and 55% of the sales are distributed amongst the actual people that capture the NFTs. So that, you don't have to be a coder to add utility. You can do story. You can have songs. You can have fun involved. It can just be, honestly, if it's beautiful art, is that you could argue that that's a utility in itself. There's so many ways to do this. And then the other side of the coin is something like what KalePale's doing with his smart NFTs that are very much right and left brain, fusing. It's kind of like architecture. It's just this NFT space offers the potential to take advantage of both hemispheres and really create some cool stuff. If you have not checked out the KalePale smart NFTs, I highly recommend it. The dig is not complete yet. It blows my mind. It's one of the coolest NFTs I've ever seen. You actually participate in creating it. So highly recommend anyone checks that out. You can always DM me on Twitter if you want more information on that. But it's honestly some of the coolest art I've ever participated in or seen in my whole life. So big props to him for that.
The mechanics that he incorporated is also a self-tutorial. It's like you're learning something completely new while having fun.
Yeah, like a lot of people, I think he became an artist almost accidentally. But that's the beautiful thing about NFTs is we're all artists. Anyone who says to you that they are not an artist is lying to themselves. And NFTs give us a chance to be artists again. Dolly said, every child is an artist. The key is maintaining being an artist as an adult. And there's really never been a chance in the history of man to express that art. It doesn't matter if people buy it. It's just if one person enjoys it, then I think you've won. And honestly, the creative process itself is a reward. So some of the utility is actually for the artist, for being able to just create. And this is a very supportive community on Lightmint. One of the things that I love about it is that most, I'd say, over half of the serious collectors are artists themselves. They make some XLM selling their pieces, and they turn around and buy art from other folks, wear their profile pics. I mean, you can see all these different artists wearing profile pics from some of their buddies. So go back to marketing, make friends, be nice, support art. It's a circle, and help tell your friends and family about it. It's something to be proud of. So let's look at some of these other questions we've got here.
Yeah, this is almost like a new Renaissance era that we were due for with interconnective of the internet.
You're 100% right. I honestly feel like this is one of the greatest tools that not only artists have been given, but humanity has been given. And Lightmint is setting itself apart. The Stellar Network is setting itself apart as being a place that's filled with integrity. There's so many other fakes. There's so many hype-driven projects. When you look at the art on Lightmint, it's artists just expressing themselves. They don't have necessarily these giant marketing teams behind them. They don't have, it's just people making art. We've got Debbie in the crowd today, Miss Metal Crazy. She just got verified today.
Woo!
So that's, yeah. Her and her husband, Mr. Metal Crazy, or Sean, if you think about it, I bet if you would ask them a year ago if they would be selling art professionally, they would have laughed at you. But what they're doing is really cool stuff that's making a lot of people happy. Mm-hmm. And again, fun is a utility. That's one of the best things about NFTs. So congratulations, Debbie, and congratulations, Sean. You guys are killing it out there.
Great job, guys.
Yeah. So let's see here. Effective marketing strategies. So someone asked, would love to learn effective marketing strategies for NFTs because most methods I've found were ineffective or fake. So that goes back to what we were talking about with some of these. Oh, I'll promote you on Twitter, etc. That would kind of fall in that ineffective or fake category. But reaching out to some of these projects that already exist, getting on the JPEG DAO, dropping some art there. You never know what could happen. Look at Gateboy. Recently, he's had some pieces auctioned for over $4,000 through Interstellar. I bought some of his first stuff for 50 XLM. And I mean, and sometimes you got to think about that when you're starting off. People always ask, they're like, how should I price? How should I release? And it's really a hard question. So there's nothing wrong with starting out a little bit low, in my opinion, especially if you go back to getting yourself into wallets. One of my favorite artists, Damien Forenza, he's actually going to be member drop in the upcoming month. A little sneak peek there. He has really cool art that's really reasonably priced, and as a result, he sells a lot of it. So there's always this kind of fast nickels or slow dimes, and once you get the art into people's wallets and they start reselling it, the floor naturally rises. So it goes back to these organic marketing techniques. You reach out to some of these projects like JPEG, like Drift, like Nuna, like Interstellar, and you talk to them. You never hurts to share some of your art with them. Who knows? You could end up being on their platforms, being minted by them. If you think about it, if you get on a drop, a member drop, or even a giveaway from JPEG, you just made yourself aware to a lot of people. So it's a great strategy to get yourself out there, and there's no, if you're going to tweet something, tag me in it. I'll look at it. I'll retweet it. I'll help you out. I know that everyone in the community will pretty much do the same thing. We want to see Lightmint succeed. It's marketing on this network isn't just about one person or one project. It's the rising tide that raises all boats. So being early in this whole Lightmint environment is a great opportunity. So if you're on another chain and you're having a little trouble, or you're getting frustrated by some of the gas fees, some of the costs of minting, jump on Lightmint. Give it a try. It's pretty much free. What do you have to lose? Especially when you have a community that's willing to help out. What other questions have we got here to look at? Oh, I see one here that I think is really cool. I don't know who asked this. Is it about the Pandora's box?
Yeah.
Okay, so what a great idea. What a great idea. And that's what I'm talking about when I say your imagination, tap into it. Think about it. Think about what would you like? How would you like to see these things unfold? I mean, Na did, like they said, kind of like Na's chess. And what I think that they're referring to by Pandora's box is you have a box that you sell, and once it's sold, you get some surprise inside of it, whether it's another NFT, who knows what it could be. But what a cool idea. And there's a million different ways you could execute that. And so if you steal that idea, that's a good idea. That's not something that I think anyone would be upset about. There's so many different ways you can make that your own.
I think Art by Dixon had kind of incorporated the same kind of concept in a different way, where you purchased his Christmas special, you received some of his collections of other artists. So that was kind of like a nice little grab bag, if I remember.
I love that. I got
Yeah.
one of those. He way over delivered on that. And the cool thing about that is it was not a cheap NFT,
No.
but what you got for it was amazing. And he used those proceeds to support other artists. So that's what I'm talking about with Lightning. It's you'll see Stellar Family hashtag bandied around quite a bit, but there's a lot of truth to that, and especially with this stellar women hashtag that's popping up. I'm loving that. I feel like Stellar Enlightenment is one of the most inclusive networks out there. We need more female voices, so come to Stellar. We need you, that's for sure. So this is a great question. Okay, so it's what is the ideal length of an auction? Complicated question, very complicated question, and I'm gonna kind of backpedal a little bit and just talk about how you release NFTs. So I see a lot of new artists, and they will release, mint 20 NFTs at once. I don't necessarily normally recommend that because there's a few reasons for that. You're kind of flooding the market. It's very when you're looking at NFTs, it is a cryptocurrency at its core, and supply and demand plays into that. There's tokenomics you have to think about, and how you release your emission schedule, if you want, it's going to dictate. It's going to dilute your demand. So why not just kind of slowly drip them out and kind of control the supply? I'd rather the supply be behind the demand personally than ahead of it. And when you are releasing, you got to think about, am I going to do a multi-min or am I going to do one of one? I almost always prefer one of ones. Unless there's utility involved, and you can't auction without having a one of one, and you also have to be a verified artist before you can auction. So I do auctions a lot, my own work, as well as work from others. And so I played around with all these different timelines, and it's a hard question. I don't think that there is a concrete answer for that. I like a lot with some of the games I do. I like to do a 3-hour or a 6-hour auction because it's more gamified, and if you miss it, you miss it. But I think honestly, if someone were to pin me down, I would say 24 hours. I'd say the 24-hour auction is probably the best. And why you want to use the auction tool a lot is there's constantly fresh mints coming in. So say you mint a bunch of NFTs. Before long, they're going to be way down the page. You're going to have to just go page, and there's not that many people that are searching that much. With the auction feature, which every collector should be looking at as well, because that's where you find some of the best deals. With the auction feature, you keep yourself front and center, and a 12 or 24-hour auction has you up there for 12, 24 hours. The other thing to think about is if you're going to do a 24-hour auction, when to do it. You don't want it to end at 3 a.m., but maybe you do if you've got more of a market, because it's a global marketplace now. So there's a lot of those things that you want to think about, and you can play with it. You can experiment with it. It costs 2 XLM to auction, so it's not free, but it's 40 cents right now. So it's not going to kill you to play around and test it out and see what works best for your project. So that's what I would say, how I would answer that question is think about what you're doing, test it out, play with it, see what works best for you. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely got outsniped by you a couple of times, only because of the time zone. I was at work and I'm like, it's 2 o'clock. I put a bid in and I see, boom. I'm like, I
love it. It used to be easy to snipe now. Now it's a whole different game. When you look at those interstellar auctions, it was a bloodbath. And the more people, and I love to see it. I love to see that
Yeah,
because
yeah.
that's good for Lightman. It's good for all the artists to see more people participating in these auctions. And because no matter what time you set your auction to, really, it's a minute auction. Every auction is really about the last minute, especially if you have some demand. So uh, just a lot of different things to think about with that. Okay. So how can I build an ideal community? If you're
That's a
starting out
tricky
as a
question.
newbie artist on Stellar, that's a great question.
Mhm.
How big of a community are you trying to build? Like when again, we already talked about this with Na. I think that he did probably one of the greatest jobs of building a community and building like not just supporters but diehard fans. So the more you look at his model, the better off you are. Obviously Andrew as well, uh, SirCheezly as well. There's a lot of these OG folks that just grinded it out and took the time. If you think you're gonna launch an NFT and be a millionaire the next day, that's probably not gonna happen. You got to put the work in, and a lot of that work is networking with other artists, being active in Discord, whether it's and there's a lot of these Discords that allow you to self promote. Lightman
Yeah,
itself has an NFT section, and people are always dropping NFTs in there, promoting themselves. And you got to be careful. You don't want to be spammy. You can see sometimes people will utilize that a little too much. I think that can turn people off. So staying humble and is key as well, I think.
I think also immersing yourself into a community that kind of already has a fan base and being able to, not come off as a stranger off the street, but that has credibility, right? You obviously want to be verified as well, but by being a part of something that's already been structured, it's like you're walking into an incubator, right? It's like you're now being a part of an opportunity not just to self promote yourself, but to also have a reach for people that like your art and that see your art as something that's a little bit unique and up and coming. People are always looking for new stuff, and and like you mentioned before, pricing it out at a low price will start to captivate more of a newer audience because people want to at least say, hey, I believe in this artist. I want to buy his mint for 10 XLM, 20 XLM, and I hope to see him continuously grow and to help be able to give that person a little more confidence because I want to continuously see more of that project ongoing over time.
Absolutely right. It's and you'll see it if anyone's involved with cryptocurrency and you're on maybe a Telegram chat. Everyone knows that you'll see. I have a marketing plan. Please DM me. When you're just coming in asking for things rather than coming in offering things, you're going to get a lot more out of your time and effort by coming in as a collaborator. Being offering value yourself. So that's definitely some good advice.
Yeah, we're in a world of nearly infinite leverage. So, every avenue is another pinpoint for leverage.
So one question, and this relates to a lot of what we've been talking about, is how do I reach out to other artists and ask for a collab? Are collabs profitable on the Stellar Network? All right, so I've done a few collabs. I did some collabs with SirCheezly. I actually did a collab with my daughter that I minted today. I don't know if that counts, but we don't have smart contracts yet. I mean, they technically are there, but unless you're going to write them yourself, it's hard. So collabs, I think are a great way to get involved. SirCheezly was super nice to help me out when I was just starting on Lightment. I was doing some poetry that had zero quality visual art behind it, and he helped me by doing some collabs. So I'm forever indebted to him for that. And so it's I think it's great. I was also lucky enough to be in a collab with Andrew and Dablo on a piggy punk. So those things to me aren't necessarily so much about profitability as much as they are about building a community and establishing relationships. So I'm always open to collaborations. I think they're fun. I think that people love them. So that's still a very new issue for Stellar and for Lightment. So that's something that we're gonna all learn a little bit more about together, honestly.
Oh man, I can't wait to collaborate with you then.
Hey man, anytime.
I still haven't done one.
It's fun. It's fun.
So we had a question. We had a bottom up breaches. He mentioned in a live chat. He said, "I just launched a fun little collector series based on an old '90s game of Pogs, calling it Stellar Caps. The first batch I created, called Spaceballs, is based off one of the Pog graphics I still have in my 30-year-old collection. Wow, it's pretty long. I wanted I wanted anyone and everyone to be able to get their hands on them, collect them as many as they want, and be able to trade them. I'm planning on creating more small batches, one of a kind collector pieces, as well as collabs with other artists and projects. I am also hoping to find a project who has developers that may be able to bring a Pogs game back to real life in the digital realm. Do you guys have any advice on where to get the game started? That's a good question.
So it's a great question, and it's one that she was involved with great Twitter Spaces today with Sam Connor. Actually, she hosted it, and so I think that's a perfect candidate for that hackathon. And I signed up for it right as soon as we got off that Twitter Spaces. I went on and I signed up for that. And when you do, there's this option to like find teammates. So if you want some devs to help you with that, I'm sure it would be really easy. And it's a great concept. When you're looking at multi-mints and maybe giving them out or having them at a lower price to be able to trade them with, it's very cool. Like one of the things that we're looking at right now with the JPEG is offering liquidity for our NFTs. Most of the NFTs that go to our members are multi-mints. So it's always interesting to think about that, because if you have a game, you might want to be able to trade them easily back and forth, whether it's in the metaverse, whether it's in augmented reality. So and one of our Stellar, one of my favorite people on Stellar, Silence. I don't know if anyone's ever run into him. He plays around with liquidity on NFTs all the time, and it's fascinating. So if you want to have like a trading or like a card game or some kind of a B Gold was talking about having some type of a war like competition with these NFTs. Again, the sky's the limit. So get on that hackathon. Any artist here, it's like a $10,000 prize, and I think they're going to be adding other prizes. And you're going to network and you're going to meet people. So I'll be on that team if you want. So I just signed up, so you can always ping me on that. It was a great Twitter Spaces, by the way. Thanks for doing that.
Thanks, Bottom Up Britches, for reminding me how long ago the '90s were. Yeah, 30 years ago.
Hey, those retro things, man. That's what speaks to people. You don't have to market something like that. It's already been marketed. You just kind of tap into it. So that's why I love these types of projects that take you back to your childhood. There's all kinds of cool things that board Boating club, they are killing it right now with utility. You look at the price, the floor. I mean, I don't know if it started out around 300 XLM. You can't
Wow.
get one less than 1300 XLM now, because they have utility. They've done a great job building out the community, and SirCheezly, he put the time in. He's been involved in the Lightman space for a long time, and he's doing a great job with this. Him and Ben have done some really neat things. They're doing airdrops. If you end up having a little bit of success, the cool thing is most of the people buying these NFTs are pretty entrenched into the Stellar network. So you can reach out to some of these quality projects and say, hey, would you airdrop my NFT holders? It's a heck of a lot better than just micro spamming everyone on Lobster. I know, especially with the new. Have you seen that new switch to Aqua feature they've got? It's
No.
amazing. Okay. So everyone here, if you have Lobster,
Okay.
update it. Update your Lobster. It doesn't
Okay.
automatically do it, and all those claimable balances you get. There's a new option. It says switch them to Aqua. Boom. All of them
No
all at
way.
once. I
Oh,
swear to
that's
God.
such a big help.
Now I'm excited when I get those airdrops. I'm like, oh, I got Shiba Doji Alon, whatever. I'm swapping it to Aqua. It's a great feature.
And always speak to your financial advisor about it. I would suggest.
Exactly.
It's not financial
No financial advice here. No financial advice. Okay.
But you mentioned with the boards. I think we touched base on this last time we spoke. It just reminds me of Ed and Eddie, Jimmy holding plank, and
Exactly.
it was such a brilliant idea. I'm like, man, because that hits at least to my childhood.
I love it.
I love it.
I know too much about cartoons here. For a 40-year-old man.
No, that's history right there.
Oh yeah. What other questions we got here?
All right, let's see. I think we
There's
have.
go ahead.
Oh, please.
There's just from some unanswered ones is like, how long does it take for Lightman to verify you? I would say it's about anywhere from 1 week to 2 weeks. Like for example, if you're already well established in the Lightman community, it's a little bit faster. When we did we had to set up a new Lightman page for the Trees project, and because we wanted to have a whole separate accounting with that and accountability, so it was nice and clean, and that was pretty fast because the JPEG was involved with it. They'd already been verified. When I reached out to him, Fred was very fast at getting that done. If it's your first, for me, it took me about 2 weeks. Debbie might be able to comment on that because she just got verified today. I don't know when she submitted her verification, but there was also a lot of people saying, "Hey, Fred, verify her." So that helps too. Now, can you sell before you're verified? You can, but you probably won't sell as much.
Right.
You cannot auction though.
That's true. I think it took me about a week, but I was like on Fred. I was like in the Discord, like, "Hey, Fred." He was like, "We're getting to it," and then I got the email, and I was like,
Yeah, it's funny stuff. Fred's the man.
Fred is the man.
I was on Discord for a long time asking the biggest noob questions, and I didn't know this guy with the funny characters by his name was the CEO answering all my questions. It's like, how does he have time to do everything that he does and still be so boots on the ground answering the questions? It's hard to believe.
I spent so much time playing his game.
Did you?
Yeah. I was like, I could play it on my iPad, and I would just sit there and just hours, just like, and it was just kind of like, man, I got to collect more of these cards so I can get better. And it's exactly what I did. Just went and started buying all the cards he had on the Lightman store.
Yeah, definitely one of the VIPs on Stellar. And if you look at Lightman analytically, there's a channel I love on YouTube, Family Hobbies and Cards, and he had an NFT week last week, and he really dived into like the analytics of how successful Lightment has been. I mean, you could argue that they're the most successful project on the Stellar network, and I mean it's just growth, 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 growth. You know, new users, sales up, 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 auctions up, 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 mints up, up, up. And so when you're thinking about where you're going to mint, I think you want to be on a platform that's on the up rather than, you know, leveled off or already selling weird pixelated pieces for $14 million.
And
Oh,
I still think, we're early. I
oh,
still think like there's like the talent, the new talent that's going to be coming in from other
way early.
projects.
They're
Yeah,
way early. And that's the thing. You know, open sea, that's true. You're going to be a small fish in an open sea and pay out the wazoo for it. Come to Lightman, bring your art to Lightman. It's you have a chance to be a small fish in a smaller pond that's growing, and you're going to grow with it. So get on board while it's still early. You know, a lot of people say, "Oh, there's no royalties," but not yet. And I don't know about other people, but if I sell someone else's work, I throw them a royalty. You know,
yeah. I would do that with Noah. You know,
yeah,
bottoms up again mentioned something really important. She said, I think marketing outside of social media has to be done old school. Get a website up and running, featuring your work with links for each that go back to your piece for the market. I mean, that's exactly what Noah did, right? I mean, that's kind of what started separating him. I remember when he asked me to help him with the website, I was just learning Wix and how to, you know, even format a text or how to enlarge it and this and that. And him allowing me to help allowed me to help JPEG even better down the road. But that's something that he did that I think I haven't really seen much of, is that he dedicated a website for his lore, for educating users on how to mint, and as well as kind of establishing who his community was and who his uh, um, core members were that were part of the team.
exactly. And you know, the website's a great idea. It's not that hard to do it. It just depends what your goal is. You know, are you going to
Yep.
do a collection of 10,000, or you can do a collection of 100? There's so many different strategies. If you're just like, hey, I might want to mint like Nettie. You know, I love Nettie's work, but she kind of so isn't just popping them out. Everything she does is really, you know, I think she spends a lot of time on it, and you know, you don't see her minting like 5 a day like some of the other popular artists. But so, you know, does she need a website? It wouldn't hurt. No, never hurt. It never hurts to have a website. But if you could do something like Nah or something like Andrew, maybe think about a Discord channel of your own. Maybe think about a Telegram channel of your own. There's all types of different ways to do that. And you know, speaking of Andrew, he's got Mint the podcast now. It's going to be tomorrow 11 a.m. Eastern time. If you want
Where
to
do
be
I go?
involved,
Where do I go to sign up for this? To listen to it.
YouTube. It's on YouTube, 11
Wow.
o'clock every Sunday. It's him and Ben from Lumen Swap and Drift
Okay.
and Interstellar, and they talk about what's going on in the Lightment scene, NFTs in general. You get there in the comment section, you meet other people. I know half the people that are in our comments here are also. I see them in the same comment section for Mint, and I'll tell you what, they give away crazy NFTs. Last week, I won a Dablo, a killer
I saw
Dablo.
that.
Yeah, I mean, those that talk about a cool generative art, you know. And another avenue is Nuna. Nuna, you know, you can always apply to be an artist in residence there. They even if it doesn't work out, you're going to learn so much in the process. You're going to meet a lot of new people. You know, you just got to put yourself out there in the community. And it goes back to not just trying to take, but giving and getting involved in these communities, networking with the artists, networking with the collectors. Reach Rockin', she's a superstar on Twitter. Bottoms Up, another superstar. You got to reach out to these people, follow them, see what's happening in the space, so you know where you fit in, and you know how to make the most out of what you're trying to do.
I see Bottom Up Pritches again is mentioning, all major website platforms offer free versions, which include branded URL built in. You can always go that route to start. Yeah, I mean, you could also, maybe check out the bounty board, put a bounty on the JPEG bounty board if you need help for creating a website. Talent that is building, the JPEG can look at that bounty and say, hey, I'll take this bounty. I'll help you with your website. This is the JPEG amount that we agree upon. And then you'll have support from that network as well.
Exactly. 100%. Use that bounty board. Get on in there and see what's happening.
Yeah, pay in JPEG.
Yeah. Okay, do we have any other questions here? So,
don't see any, but I did want to. Oh, are there any crossover artists selling on Stellar and Solo or XRP networks?
There are a few.
Yeah.
And
McPhil, I think, is one of them.
McPhil
right?
is one of my absolute favorites. I love that gugue.
I can't get a hold of his art.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to get his Genesis piece on Lateman. Yeah, I sold it. I shouldn't have done it. But
I saw it available. I went to go hit buy, and then it was gone. I'm like,
yeah.
What?
Yeah, no, his he then we've got NFT Riddler is on there. There's a few others. There's a few others that are Infinite Villains, I think, is coming on board. And as these projects like JPEG, Drift, Interstellar, Nuna establish themselves and start reaching out to these artists, Al Congress too. Al Congress is someone who's come across. So I would highly recommend it to anyone who's minting on another network. You're just expanding your base. There's no reason not to do it. Just it's so cheap. Worst thing that happens is you don't sell, but there's a really strong chance you will.
Absolutely. And hey guys, just to mention, a contest for the art selections coming up. If you participate, mint your art on Lightmint and submit it to our workshop competition. The NFT will be created by JPEG DAO Store for 10,000 JPEG. So be prepared in March. And also, for the first 50 applicants for the workshop that we're having, will be sent their airdrops before the next workshop. So please be sure to check your claimable balances soon.
Check those claimable balances. Do not swap it for Aqua.
You know what? I was actually going to make sure. I was like, you know what? I'm going to claim it first and then do the whole mechanism.
Yeah, it's a mountain token, and it's like, what's the code called? It's like OX1345. So keep an eye out for that. It's valuable. It can get you some cool art.
Yeah. Thank you, Jason, for the kind words.
Thank you, sir.
And yeah, bounty boards. It's all there. If you go to our website, you'll see all the Google Docs for complete transparency on the core roles, on marketing, on pretty much any payments that are being done by the innovation. You can check it all out. It's for everybody to be able to see. And if you have any questions, please hop on Discord, ask any of us. There are some members that are more active than others, but I'll be sure to be more active for the next 12 weeks as I go off to coding school.
Well, this Discord, it's basically like a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week workshop. You might not get an instant answer, but it's a great place to ask questions. It's a great place to present your art. And, if you have ideas, that's the beauty of a DAO. It's run by the members. It's shaped by the members. So be a member, get involved. It's a lot of fun. It's confusing sometimes because it's just so much going on and so many different voices. That's part of the fun. So I highly recommend jump on that Discord and ask questions, show us your art, talk about art, strategies, anything we can do to build this stellar community, this stellar family.
All right, so I think that wraps it up for today. But before we go, we're going to spin today's wheel with all the people that asked questions for today's giveaways. All right, so I'm going to share my screen. There will be 2 wheel spins. The first one will
Awesome.
be for the NFT, and the second one will be for the JPEG mountain token. So just bear with me. There we go. All right, can you see my screen?
I don't see it. Oh, there it is.
Oh, infinite screens. All right. So here we go. First spin. Let's go. Who we got? And it's
Colette.
Oh, Colette.
That's so funny.
All
She just won a Twitter competition I did. You're on fire.
Nice. On fire. All right. Here's the second one. Let's go. Who we got? Oh.
Renegade. Awesome.
Nice. Very awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So please be sure to check your wallets for those giveaways. And thank you for joining us today.
Thanks so much. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. Lumen Jack, it was a pleasure as well. Thank you so much. I hope to see you soon.
Cheers.
Cheers. Yeah. Adios.